After 400 hours played, several websites visited, several walkthroughs watched, I have finally platinumed Elden Ring. There is so much to this game. There's a lot. There is more than I ever thought possible to a video game ever. Just when I think I found everything within the map, oh wait, no, there's that secret section that you didn't go underneath that one rock that you forgot to visit. What's going on, you guys? It's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to be discussing my experience, journey, whatever you want to call it, with getting the platinum for Elden Ring. I enjoyed getting this platinum. This by far was probably one of the most interesting and fun experiences because I've gotten a platinum trophy before. I'd only gotten one previous, and was for an indie game called Neverending Nightmares. That was easy to get. I believe there were only like 4 or 5 trophies. Maybe 6 at the most. I don't know. I'll have to check. There were 4 trophies. Four trophies. Okay, I just looked. There were 4 trophies that you could get for Neverending Nightmares. It's a creepy game. Really artistically and aesthetically pleasing. I would highly recommend checking it out. But that was the only other game I ever got a platinum for. And getting a platinum in Elden Ring is a pretty big deal. And the last achievement that I needed to unlock the platinum trophy was Lord of the Frenzied Flame, which that ending, can we talk about that ending for a second? What happened to Milena? What happened to what happened to the sweet little demigod from Marika that we came to know and love? Like what exactly happened to her after we become Lord of the Frenzied Flame? She goes berserk. There is one thing, okay, I'm over dramatizing, but she actually interacts with us when we are at the gate to become the spawn, if you will, to inherit Lord of the Frenzied Flame. She warns us. She's like, don't, I'm paraphrasing right now, don't do it. Don't, this is a really bad idea. Don't burn the world down. Don't create chaos around everyone. This is not a good idea. Surprise! I did it. After you are embraced, hugged, if you will, by the 3 fingers, she meets up with you again at the site of grace. And she is like, it's like with parents whenever they're really mad at their kid. And it's like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. That's basically her. She wanted to hunt down and kill us and make it her life's mission to end our existence from that point forward. She made it known to us in the most elegantly beautiful way possible with how the script was done, that she's making it her life's mission, her life's purpose to end our existence. And by the ending of the game, oh my gosh, it is an incredible ending, but it also says a lot that she wants to bring destined death unto us. It's fascinating. I love the ending. It was absolutely amazing. It was so metal. I loved it. So what I want to discuss with you guys next is every achievement that you will need in order to get platinum in Elden Ring, and which ones I think you need to watch out for that might be a bit tricky. I know for a fact there was one that I needed to wait until New Game Plus in order to obtain. So there's a little bit, there's a caveat with some of them that you might want to watch out for, but we'll get to that. All right, so first up is the Erd Tree Flame. Use kindling to set the Erd Tree aflame. This will happen after you beat the fire giant. And depending on what ending you get, Milena might not be there. She'll just probably fuck off and say, no, I don't like you anymore. Bye. Like, what are you talking about? I'm associated with this tarnish. They're trying to beat Lord of the Frenzied Flame. Which is really interesting. Like the fact that she's not there and we could set the tree ablaze ourselves says a lot to the lore, and I'm probably going to do a separate video on that entirely. Great Rune. Restore the power of a Great Rune. That is an easy one to get. You can restore literally any Great Rune that you see fit that will be good for your arsenal or whatever kind of build you have. Next up is arrive at the Round Table Hold. That's really it. Like it's very, very much in the beginning of the game that this happens. So when you arrive there, you will unlock that achievement. Commander Niall. Now, Commander Niall, he is... So Commander Niall, you will need to beat him if you want to beat Milena. You need to beat that boss in order to get another half of the medallion so you can have both halves of the secret medallion to get to her Haligtree. Next up is Ancestor Spirit. Ancestor Spirit is beautiful. It's so gorgeous. Oh my god, please visit that boss. Even if you die several times, please visit that boss. It's gorgeous. Next up is Elmer of the Briar. Really? It sounds like a fancy cheese, the Briar. Honey, I'm going to have some Briar tonight with the glass of orange juice. Why am I having orange juice with cheese? Good old Elmer's in the Shaded Castle. You need to defeat him in order to get the platinum. And I say platinum, I got this achievement on Xbox, but I say platinum because it's just been utilized with every kind of, ultimate achievement unlocking sort of situation. So I say, hey, I got platinum in this, when in reality, when you get platinum for something, it is for PlayStation. So I just want to make that very clear. I did not platinum this on PlayStation. I platinumed it on Xbox Series X. Next up, defeat Royal Knight Loretta. Now, this is a very important one to defeat because if you want to get Ronnie's ending, you need to get past her to get to the Three Sisters. So defeat her, please. And especially if you want to get platinum, you have to defeat her regardless. Leon the Mesbegotten is one of the ones you need for also a platinum trophy. Very easy to get through, especially if you are already at the end of the game and at this point you are just collecting trophies and all of that. Very easy, especially if you're a fundamentalist build. Next up is Astiel, Natural Born of the Void. Now, there are two versions of this boss that you can encounter. One of them is for Ronnie's questline. This one is just, I believe this one is just one that likes to hang around in the Celia tunnels. Like, I think that's where it is. But yes, you need this one to platinum. Now, right before you get to Melania's boss, you will have to face off with Loretta, Knight of the Howling Tree. She is not easy. Not easy. Grab an ash. Seriously, I implore you to grab an ash or grab a mimic tear and utilize it as a distraction because her stuff hurts. Her attacks, they hurt. Next up is the mimic tear. Now, this is where I have a little bit of a caveat. Depending on what your build is and depending on how OP you are as a player, this mimic tear boss battle can go either way. So if you have a really just kind of okay build, the mimic tear will be really easy. But if you have an OP build, really strong build, you're not going to like it as much. You're going to have a little bit more of a difficult time. You might actually want to bring in a mimic tear to fight yourself against yourself. I don't know how that would work. It's like all the Spider-Mans pointing at one another at the same time. Moog the Omen. Okay, this is completely different from the Moog that is right at the DLC area that you can unlock. It's a completely different Moog. Maybe it's the same Moog. I have some theories on this Moog. This Moog in particular is found in Lindell in the sewers. Godfrey the First Lord. You need to fight him in order to get platinum. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to spoil the fun with Godfrey. Magnum Wormmaker. Magnum Wormmaker was annoying, but it was easy. This one should be no problem. Godskin Noble. Jesus Christ. It was annoying. It was annoying more than anything. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is so difficult. He puffs himself out and he does this roly-poly-oly thing all over the place, and it makes it unnecessarily annoying to a degree, but not unmanageable. This is one of the easier bosses in the game, but when he does that, it's just kind of annoying. Red Wolf Radagon, the best boy. This is right before you visit Renala, Queen of the Full Moon, and Red Wolf Radagon, depending on what your skill level is and depending on where you are at and what New Game Plus you are at, you are either going to blow right through this boss and have a really easy time with it, or it is going to be the bane of your existence. Margit the Fell Omen. This should be easy. If you guys are on New Game Plus and you guys are OP and you did your builds correctly, you should have no problem with this guy whatsoever. If you're just fighting him for the first time and you are fresh, tarnished right out the gate, I am... gotta be with you. The Valiant Gargoyles. This one is... I was about to say this one's weird. This one is... If you have a mimic, it's easy. If you don't have a mimic with you, this makes it 10 times more difficult because if you're fighting these two on your own, these guys can create poison. These guys hit very, very, very hard. I would highly recommend getting a mimic tier, leveling it up to the max that it can go, and bringing that one into the Valiant Gargoyles boss battle because that's the way it works the best, quite honestly, in my experience. And also, yes, there are 42 trophies to obtain within this. So if it seems like a long list, it's because it is. Next up is Regal Ancestor Spirit. This is a beautiful boss. Beautiful boss. I'm not going to say anymore because I don't want to spoil it, but this is just beautiful. Dragonkin Soldier Nuxtella. This one, I came across this one by surprise. And it's in the eternal city of Nuxtella, this beautiful, just absolutely cosmic looking amazing area. I don't even know how to describe it because it's just gorgeous. This one is, again, easy if you are OP in your character and you are dealing with this guy at the end of the game or in New Game Plus. I dealt with this guy after I finished everything and went back from playing the DLC. The Fire Giant, this guy is either going to be incredibly easy for you because you're in New Game Plus 4, like I was when I defeated this guy and I had no problem with him, or you're going to have a really difficult time with this guy because it's going to be your first time ever going against him. If you're going against this guy for the first time, I would highly recommend taking in 2 people, because that's what I did. And it was actually kind of funny. This was with my friend Boss, which you guys might remember the episode I did for this this boss in particular, of if you are hosting the session of where you are having your another person come in to do the boss battle with you, you can't die. If you die, they all go away. So what we did was, I was sitting in a corner. I was like, don't put baby in a corner, but I was in a corner and I was just watching everything happen. My job was to stay alive during that boss battle. I wasn't interacting, because if I interacted with everything, I died. So I just had my popcorn and I was sitting there by a tree watching while my friend and one incredibly OP person who had a blood build went at the Fire Giant, and that's how we got that achievement. So, I mean, it was so much easier after I finally understood how to make a good build, a really just well done build. I finally understood how to do it. And then I was like, okay, this is easy. I can take this guy on now. But before, I had no clue about anything, how to make a correct build that actually has longevity, that will work best in my favor against bosses and will help me and not be more of like a confusing hindrance, if that makes sense. The Godskin Duo. Again, if you guys are playing against this boss for the first time in your tarnished life, this will be hell. This boss was hell for me and my friend Boss. We went at this boss, I can't even count how many times. I went into New Game Plus. When I tell you I blew straight through this boss. I blew straight through this boss with my Mimic and Bernal, the guy who you... Again, it's an achievement that you have to unlock with him eventually. But you're allowed one summon, and of course you can use your Mimic tier when you are in there. Got him on the first go. I felt insulted. I was like, why is it so easy now and before it was a fucking nightmare? Lich Dragon Fortisax. This one is a must to get the achievement. Lich Dragon Fortisax is probably one of the best pieces of artwork for a dragon I have ever seen in a video game. This is where I have to give you guys a really huge caveat. If you are interacting with Fia, keep her alive, please. You need her alive in order to go through and see this boss and fight it and get the achievement. Both Ronnie's questline and Fia's questline kind of merge at a certain point. I'm going to try my best not to spoil as much, but they do merge at a certain point and they intersect in a way of where you get one thing in Ronnie's questline that affects Fia's questline. It makes sense in the lore. So with Lich Dragon Fortisax, you have to go into the nightmare or the deathbed dream, I believe it was called, in order to fight Lich Dragon Fortisax. Now, I cannot stress this enough. You really need to keep Fia alive for this, and you have to go on her quest line basically in order to get to Lich Dragon. After you get achievements unlocked for Lich Dragon Fortisax, it's fine. If you don't want the ending that has to do with Fia and all of that, that's fine. After that, it doesn't matter. Just, get the achievement for that. But it's very important that you do keep Fia alive. I cannot stress that enough. Next up, this is one of the main bosses that you will encounter. It's right after Red Wolf Radagon, is Renala, Queen of the Full Moon. All I can say is just beware of the children throwing books at you. Now, before I discuss the next 4 trophies, please keep in mind that as you are going throughout the game, keep on to the things that you are collecting. You might not want a certain talisman you collected. You might not want a certain sorcery or incantation or even a weapon. Hold on to them. Please hold on to them, because you don't know if that one could possibly be the one to grant you achievement unlocked for what I'm about to discuss next. I'm going to leave the Elden Ring wiki down in the description below so you guys can check it out. There's an entire achievement guide that lists out all of the incantations, legendary talismans, like legendary weapons that you need in order to unlock the achievements for those. Now here is a list of the legendary talismans you will need in order to unlock that achievement. Radagon Icon, Radagon Sword Seal, Godfrey Icon, Moon of Noxtella, Dragon Crest Great Shield Talisman, try saying that 5 times fast, Marika Sword Seal, Old Lord's Talisman, Erdtree's Favor +2. If you are hunting and you are exploring and you are getting all the talismans, by the end of the game, you will be surprised at how many of these you might actually have. Next up is to acquire all 7 legendary sorceries and incantations. Flame of the Fell God, Grail's War, Elden Stars, Founding Rain of Stars, Rani's Dark Moon, Comet Azure, Stars of Ruin. Next up, all the legendary Ashen Remains that you will need to collect. Luthel the Headless, Black Knife Tish, Redmane Knight Olga, Mimic Tear, Ancient Dragon Knight Kristoff, Cleanrot Knight Finley. These were really easy to get. Like the legendary Ashen Remains are probably the easiest ones to get out of all of the different lists of things that you need to obtain. And again, like I said, if you guys are collecting and exploring after boss battles and in different areas, these lists will be a piece of cake. And here is the legendary armaments list that you will need. Rune's Greatsword, Eclipse Shuttle, Grafted Blade Greatsword, Sword of Night and Flame, which by the way, the Sword of Night and Flame is absolutely amazing. Maria's Executioner Sword, Dark Moon Greatsword. Now, this one you have to follow Rani's entire questline up until the very end, so you might as well just do that questline, which by the way, that questline is one of the achievements you need to unlock, but we'll get to that. Devourer's Scepter, Golden Order Greatsword, Bolt of Grandsax. Now, Bolt of Grandsax, I will say, you need to be in the Lendil Royal capital before it turns to ash. So do not, under any circumstance, fight Meliketh before you get that sword. So if you want to get the entire list of all the weapons in one playthrough, be sure you get the Bolt of Grandsax before you fight Meliketh. Next one is Godslaying Armament, and this is upgrading any armament to its highest stage. The next one is to defeat Dragon Lord Placidusax. Finally got that name right. This was one of the most fun fights in the entirety of Elden Ring, besides Meliketh and Baal in the DLC. Meliketh is by far my favorite boss in the entirety of Elden Ring. Baal comes 2 and Placidusax comes right in 3rd. Next up, defeat Hoarlu the Warrior. Hoarlu is interesting. I'll just tell you right now, he has one attack where he grabs you and smashes you down like a pancake into the ground. Just don't be anywhere near that. Go as far away as you can. Hopefully you have your Mimic Tear there with you, like I've said before, and that can be a little distractor. Speaking of Meliketh, you have to defeat Meliketh the Black Blade. This is a beautiful boss. Very reminiscent of Bloodborne, very reminiscent of just everything that I love about Bloodborne is in this boss battle. It is absolutely incredible. When you see that second cutscene, it's amazing. I love it. Next up, Shardbearer Mohg, which Shardbearer Mohg is the one that you need to defeat in order to get into the DLC. Next up, Shardbearer Melania. Man. Good luck. She's not bad. I will say, if you have Impenetrable Thorns from the DLC and you have a really good Mimic because you yourself have a good build, it's not going to be bad. It's going to be a piece of cake, actually. Shardbearer Rykard. This guy. All I can say is this guy. Next up is Shardbearer Margot. Margot is really fun. Like, I really like his boss battle a lot. In order to unlock Lord of the Frenzied Flame, and in order to get to certain parts of the game, you need to beat Margot before anything. There's a certain tunnel that you go down after you beat the Margot the Omen. And that's the tunnel that you go down in order to get to the place of where the 3 fingers are. You need to beat Mohg the Omen and you need to beat Margot before you can even go into where the Frenzied Flame 3 fingers location is. Then you have Shardbearer Radahn. Radahn wasn't that bad. It was rather simple, actually. They nerfed him quite a bit. Next up is Shardbearer Godric. Godric was just, it was fun to see him, kind of scream in these weird kind of funny ways. He's like, you'll never be fit to be grafted. And finally, the endings that you will need to achieve in order to get Platinum. Lord of the Frenzied Flame, the Age of Stars, and just a base Elden Lord ending. The Elden Lord ending, there are, I believe, 6 different Elden Lord endings that you can obtain. It does not matter which Elden Lord ending you get, they all count for that one achievement that you can unlock. So let's say you want to get the Duskborn ending, there's no separate achievement for Duskborn or the Age of Order or anything like that. There's only a separate achievement if you are getting the 2 other secret endings, which is the Age of Stars and Lord of the Frenzied Flame. And then you get the final achievement, which is Elden Ring, which makes it 42 achievements unlocked. That was all the achievements. That was a lot to go over, but it was I really wanted to go into each achievement that you can unlock, because I think it's very important to have one video where you guys know that, hey, this information is here in case you guys need it, can reference back to it when you're playing the game. And plus, also having the website down below in the description will help, because there's so many different things that I was not aware of, and utilizing different walkthroughs from Fighting Cowboy definitely helped, and also utilizing different lore pieces so I can understand just the world in general better from Quelaag and Vati. They help tremendously. So if you guys want to check out their stuff, that will be down in the description below as well. My overall opinion, the way I overall feel about this achievement and getting it, is so surreal, because I never thought that I would be good at these types of games, let alone have a channel surrounding Souls and Souls-like content. It's kind of funny to think back on it now, that before I even got into Souls or Souls-like games, I saw the trailer for Elden Ring and I thought it was like everything else I had ever seen. I was like, okay, this looks like a really much fancier version of The Witcher, like way back before this game released and they had the first trailer out. And it's so weird to think about it now, because I am so in love with these games. Thank goodness for the friends who told me to try Dark Souls 1 Remastered, because I am so incredibly indebted to them. I am so incredibly in love with this franchise, and I'm so incredibly proud of myself that I platinumed Elden Ring. So are there any issues that you guys are going to have when unlocking these achievements, going about the world, etc.? Don't unnecessarily throw away things that you might actually need to unlock the trophy. Before I looked at the list of different things that you need to unlock, I thought that you needed to have way more than you did. This list, in comparison to what I thought, tame. Also, just as a regular rule of thumb, it has nothing to do with getting platinum or anything like that, but it's something that I wish I had known before I had gone into Elden Ring, is prep more than one weapon. In all seriousness, it's great to have one weapon that you get really OP and very strong, but it is, I believe, absolutely essential to have at least 3 weapons that you get incredibly OP, so you can switch it up depending on what boss you are confronting and what area you're in as well, because certain fundamental kind of main little enemies, they will have the things that they are buff against and they will have the things that they are weak against. Understanding that, okay, let me have one weapon that is all intelligence based, or one weapon that causes a buildup of bleeding or rot, or whatever it may be, because there are certain things that I'm noticing throughout my time playing Elden Ring that every enemy is weak to, like bleed, for example. Mostly all of the bosses that I have interacted with and come across have been weak to bleed, with the exception of maybe 2, and they were still weak to bleed after you applied it enough. Getting the platinum trophy for this game is easy if you go along and you explore and you adventure and you search every little kind of nook and cranny of the game. Getting the platinum trophy is no big deal. The only way that getting these trophies are difficult is if you do not explore at all whatsoever. But overall, this game is such a fun experience. My gosh, after 400 hours being able to say hey, yeah, I platinumed this entire game, it still doesn't feel real to a degree. It still doesn't feel real. And I love it. Oh my God, I love it. But you guys, that is it for me. If you have anything else that you want to add to the discussion, or you think I missed something, if you guys have any questions for me regarding the platinum for Elden Ring, let me know down in the comments below. But with that being said, if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. May you find your worth in the waking world, your hunter. Stay casually nerdy, and I will see you all in the next video. Umbasa.